Guten Tag gamers, Yana here.
And Christina here.
And this is your PiMP Daily Dose for August 29th, brought to you by Electronic Arts at GAMESCOM 2011. Well, all this week we'll be giving you our exclusive coverage from GamesCon in Cologne, Germany, starting with the awesome looking RPG, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning.
And we'll go behind enemy lines to get some insight into Overstrike, the brand new sci-fi spy title from Insomnia Games.
One of the highlights for us at this year's GamesCon was Reckoning, the new Kingdoms of Amalur action RPG. Ken Rolston and his team at 38 Studios have recognised that deep storylines and exploration are obviously key components in RPGs, but pretty much everyone has that sussed. In this game, the point of difference is action and animation. From what we saw at GamesCon, Reckoning takes the best from action games to create advanced combat while moving away from the mechanics that are geared more to PC to unlock the true potential of console controllers. PiMP TV got some hands-on time with the game, and we can report that the combat is incredibly fun. But not only that, the customization and exploration goes very deep and the world looks fantastic. Interestingly, character classes have been broken up into abilities and destinies, so instead of choosing a class at the beginning, you get to find nuggets of abilities and shape your character as you discover what the game is about. PiMP TV spoke with the eccentric Ken Rolston, visionary of Reckoning.
Kingdoms of Amalur is the setting, and Reckoning is the name of the game. And Reckoning, let me tell you what we think is the marketing differentiation of our RPG. We really, all role-playing games have to have four basic elements: epic narrative, exploration, combat, and advancement. And we felt that, you know, if we were looking around, you know, people have done a pretty good job in epic, vast narrative. I can think of people at BioWare, for example, who don't suck at that. And then for exploration, I admit to have been responsible for some of the work on that in Morrowind and in Oblivion. And if you look at Blizzard, it's not like they don't have that sorted, you know, loot and advancement. But combat, I think, it's not that combat is bad in role-playing games, but I think that your expectations for combat come from your old tabletop expectations. And it's kind of slow-paced, kind of ugly and messy, and then that got translated into like Baldur's Gate and things like that. Turn-based games, you thought they were pretty good. But again, what you don't know is that they're slow-paced. And then you take a look at the move to first-person and third-person role-playing games on the console. They're still working on the constraints of the PC in many ways. They're not doing as much as they could do with the controllers. And at the same time, what a wonderful opportunity. I find myself working with R.A. Salvatore, who I bitterly accept the fact that he's a better writer than I am. I think it's unfair, but on the other hand, since I'm a better game designer, I get to win some of them. But nonetheless, really great narrative opportunity. And then I'm working with Todd, you know, who's done Spawn. And, you know, he knows something about the visceralness of combat, and he also knows something about animation and physicality and the physicality of characters. And I'm saying, okay, action games kind of have some really good stuff in them, except the storytelling and the exploration isn't so good. But, you know, that's kind of fun. But I've got Todd here, and he can help me with that. And also it turns out that action games, the currency of gameplay is animation. And I say to myself, are role-playing games as good in animation as some of the other games we have? And the answer is no. So I say, what a great opportunity. That's what Reckoning is going to be about. It's going to be about the best combat in any role-playing game. And of course, one of the challenges is actually, you know, once you're a visionary and you say, let's do that, turns out I had no idea how to do that. But big, huge games and the people that I work with struggled and suffered manfully until they could produce the very thing, which you can go test in the demo room and find out that it's way too much fun.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to get any hands-on time with Overstrike whilst in Germany, as the game is still in its formative stages. But we did get to speak to creative director Brian Algaya, who gave us a little more insight into the game. Overstrike is a third-person, four-player asymmetrical co-op game with 4 distinct characters set in the near future, where you and your team overthrow enemy strongholds. Insomniac says they have taken inspiration from espionage movies, putting a strong focus on creative weaponry and heavy action, which, as we already know, as something they are well recognized for. Known for the work on PS3, Insomniac are currently retooling the game engine to make the gameplay experience the same across PlayStation and Xbox. Here's what creative director Brian Algar had to say about the game.
The universe, we draw a lot of inspiration from espionage films, everything from Mission Impossible, James Bond's to the Bourne movies. And so we're focusing on mainly the action-based combat. And that's where the Fringe Tech weaponry really shines. Each one of our agents has their own special weapon that they can use that's both effective for themselves, but it's very powerful when they're used together as a team. And the term that we're using to describe the game is asymmetrical co-op.
Okay, yeah, and there's 4 distinct characters here, so how those characters all work together, and tell us a bit about that co-op.
Sure. So we have 4 characters, and they're all considered to be the misfits of the Overstrike organization. We've got Dalton Brooks, who's an ex-mercenary. We've got Jacob Kimball, who's a decorated cop. And then we've got Naya Devereaux, who is a master thief. Izzy Sinclair, who's a gifted young scientist. Dalton Brooks uses this energy shield that can collect bullets and he can fire them back at enemies. It's also great for protecting his team. We've got Jacob Kimball, who fires his crossbow, which has these electrified bolts, which will zap nearby enemies and move them out of cover. We've got Naya Devereaux, she can cloak herself and go invisible and get up close to enemies. There's also a cooperative component to her gadget that we'll reveal at a later date. And then we've got Izzy Sinclair, who fires out this chemical compound, which is like this liquid metal that immobilizes enemies, and when another player shoots it, it explodes and will kill enemies as well. So, yeah, again, they're all fun to play with. They all have their own play styles, but you really want to play together as a team to make them most effective.
And that's your PiMP Daily Dose for August 29.
To see the full uncut interviews with Ken Ralston and Brian Algar, check out the PiMP Joypad channel.
That's right, or you can see them all at www.pimp.tv.
See you tomorrow.